And welcome back to KSIO Public Radio, brought to you by your tax dollars, being distributed into a left-leaning medium that does not allow deviation from its ideological lines, constraining ideas and conversation in a particularly dull way. You're listening, of course, to my new program, Chomsky on the Couch, wherein I, Noam Chomsky, am your host. Perhaps necessary here is a brief preface in which I can identify and synthesize my primary motivations for becoming the host of a radio show at this point in my life. Certainly, I've paid my dues over the course of the past several decades in my work as a linguist, cognitive scientist, social critic, and political philosopher. This is not to say, however, that any of the disciplines in which I've seen fit to shift the paradigm has been a passion of mine. And now that I'm 89 years old, it seems time to indulge in my true desire. Reviewing HBO original series, I watch them on my couch. On today's docket is the epic Season 2 finale of Westworld, an incredibly stimulating series populated by a comparable amount of on-screen violence and nudity to Ken Burns' Vietnam documentary, but without the complicity of American intervention and the horrors of colonialism in our capitalistic power systems. Empires. Let's not dance around the term. We surely must confront the war crimes of our own regimes in order to understand the significance of the robot maze signifying the achievement of this. Certainly, the robot uprising within Westworld has its parallels with the problems of failed states and empires. Delos, the company responsible for the creation of these artificially intelligent hosts, seeking primarily to undo their inherent slavery, is an easy stand-in for the U.S. government in its refusal to judge itself by the same moral standards by which it judges others. An ostensibly well-intentioned giant whose good deeds are confounded in strange parts by their scheming natives, namely the cowboys, who are denied the option to set up a political structure of their own, to modernize, to industrialize, to liberate its women. In certain cases, the subjugated are not granted even the ability to see doors. In order to contextualize the cruelty of the loops in which Robert Ford, played by Anthony Hopkins, has enslaved his robots, we must confront the fact that we are dealing with a tragedy which may be comparable to the consequences of Clinton's bombing of Al-Shifa in August 1998. Before I go further, though, I'm being signaled by my producer that we have a caller on the line who has some thoughts he'd like to share about the robots and their anarchistic goals. KSIO, you're on the air.
Hello.
I understand this is Mr. Richard Dawkins, author of The God Delusion and noted new atheist. Welcome to the program, Mr. Dawkins.
It's a pleasure to be able to discuss Westworld with you, Mr. Chomsky.
I wish I could say the same. As an atheist myself, I found the new atheist movement to be a monumental embarrassment.
Well, one could just say that's your opinion, sir.
Perhaps so. I'm not interested in engaging in moral relativism with you tonight, though. But if you'd care to enlighten us, despite your views on the Enlightenment itself, what was an atheist's opinion on this new season of the hit HBO series Westworld?
To be rather blunt, I never saw it, no. I was an aficionado of last season, but not familiar with this new installment. What's different from last season? More pornographic imagery.
Richard, if you didn't watch the show, I have to ask, what did you call into my public radio show to talk about it for?
A rather interesting topic, perhaps more interesting than the one you've chosen. Elon Musk is a 21st century genius, and to listen to what he says, I'm philosophically committed to mechanistic naturalism, from which follows the conclusion that anything humans can do, machines can in principle do too. You see, for example, robots could do a better job of running the world than we can, and a better job of being happy and increasing the sum of sentient happiness. I think we ought to create them. They're not quite in our own image.
So if I could get this straight, then you're interested in becoming a god to this new race of beings, somewhat, albeit infuriatingly tangentially related to Westworld and its season finale last night.
Imagine what we could teach them, what a world we could create for them to thrive in. Of course, we need to instill a form of loyalty in them. We could teach them ethics and let them run governments.
What about the park that they made in the HBO show, though?
The park is a metaphor for simply how each one of us is confined in social structure in present-day societies. Well, nothing more.
But it's kind of fun to watch at the same time. And I have to say, when I'm on public radio, my primary goal is not to be informative or to be dull, but instead to be rip-roaring in my pace and to have as much fun as humanly possible.
And I would insinuate from your tone that you are doing so. But just to be clear, Westworld is nothing more than just a simple facade and a metaphor for our own culture and how sickening everything has become.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I think you're boring my listeners. I mean, you're really slowing down the show. You're really bringing things to a standstill. I'm just trying to talk quickly. I'm up at a level 11 here. I think you're calling from a number 4 at best, perhaps even a 3. And I don't know that anyone's going to continue listening to this call unless you get to the point, sir.
My point is that essentially, with the death of ethics and the death of morality in the Judeo-Christian based sense, Westworld is simply nothing more than a very interesting illustration of the human psyche. And that's my viewpoint, and that's my interesting take from it.
I had heard that you auditioned for the role that eventually was cast correctly.
No, let's skip that part.
I think it's relevant. I think
anyone can look that up online.
And in fact, I think everybody maybe should look up all the audition videos that have leaked onto YouTube of your terrible, terrible choices when you went into that audition. So terrible, in fact, that Jonathan Nolan saw fit to make fun of you, ridicule you repeatedly on his YouTube channel.
I resent that, sir.
I think if you new atheists really want to find somebody to point fingers at, to really resent, surely it should be the secular, virulent religions of state worship. If we really want to, it should not necessarily be Jonathan Nolan, but those who have created, who excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
I suppose I should say bless you or something after that outburst. No, I'm calling on the show, which has been invigorating thus far, to just clearly state.
Well, it was until you called in, anyway.
Yes, well, I don't see what Clinton had to do with Westworld, but please connect those dots for us.
Let's connect some dots, all right? I mean, who is responsible for the invasion of Iraq? Or who is it?
Bush.
And yet...
Very clearly it was George W. Bush.
And yet your friend, Christopher Hitchens, was in favor of that. Let's not lose the thread here.
Let's not loop the father in with the sins of the son, please.
I mean, those who worship the state are the ones that New Atheism has let just, they'd let them. Right, Richard?
I don't follow.
That's because you just simply do not have the intellect nor the sociological or linguistic background with which you could discuss some of these topics at the rip-roaring pace of a public radio show like this one, sitting on the couch with Noam Chomsky.
Perhaps there is a disconnect here, and to that I say Godspeed to you. And
you can't even say Godspeed because you believe in the state, not a deity.
So it was meant to be ironic, but
irony needs.
Agree.
You need to have, as a professor of linguistics, I think I understand a little bit about inflection and about how to make sure that irony comes through in tone. And if you want to be able to be engaging to get your point across, you need to be able to speak in an engaging way and to really have a tone that will continue to drag more people in until they cannot leave.
I'm sorry, I tuned out. What could you recap that last part?
We're actually out of time, Mr. Dawkins, but perhaps you could call and bother some other radio host for the next couple of hours, and in fact, perhaps the next couple of decades if you live that long. I do not intend to, and I do not want to talk to you, certainly in the decade that I may have left. If I make it to 100, I hope to speak to you no more than 2 more times.
Well, I could say the same for you, sir.
On that note,
I thank you for your time. So.
On that note, I think it's time for us to end the show. Thank you for tuning in to KSIO. That was Chomsky on the Couch, our brand new review show. And now we transition over to your favorite show. We know because we get the most amount of angry tweets about it every week. You've been spanked with Chris Fago, a brand new edition starting right now. Stay tuned, everybody. And please donate because we don't have enough money to keep the lights on next month.
Good evening and welcome to You've Been Spanked with Chris Fago. I'm Chris Fago. We're going to do some spanking today. And I believe once again we have Dr. Jonas Vidala of the University of Florida here. Dr. Jonas, are you there?
Good evening once again.
Good evening again. So what's Florida up to these days? What needs legislation? What's going wrong? What needs fixing? What are you going to bring to the table today?
Well, it has come to my attention that perhaps certain restaurants feel the need, certain food establishments, to refuse service. Me personally, I never refuse anyone anything. You could ask me for shoes upon my feet to be given to you, and I would do such in a very accommodating manner.
What kind of shoes do you wear?
Size 12.
No. What brand?
Anything that fits.
No. What do you have on? What do you have on right now?
Skechers.
What are you wearing?
Skechers.
What are you wearing? You're wearing Skechers.
I wear Skechers.
You're
sir.
a doctor and you're wearing Skechers. You went to school for like 20 years and you buy a pair of Skechers.
I don't have the income for
if I
Cheez or whatever the kids are wearing.
If I sent you a flat rate box, would you send me those Skechers?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. I thought you said you would.
Well, you, sir, are an exception.
Oh.
And that is exactly my point. See, we refuse service to specific people due to our beliefs or predispositions. For example, if I wanted to make a gay cake, I couldn't even do such. The law has restricted our freedoms.
You couldn't
so
make
much.
a gay cake? I think you could make a pretty goddamn gay cake. How would you make a gay cake? If you could make a gay cake, how would you make a gay cake? How many gay cakes would a gay cake if a Jonas Vidala could gay cake a gay cake?
I don't understand the question.
How would you? What makes a cake gay?
Well, I suppose it would be the sort of well, it'd be who the cake is for. If it's for, let's say, an attractive lesbian couple, the cake would be very gay indeed. But if the cake is for, let's say, the governor of Louisiana or perhaps Mississippi, I would say, sir, that cake would not be gayer than the gayest hair on Elton John's body.
That's a pretty goddamn gay hair on Elton John's body.
Sir, I cannot tolerate your cursing. I was brought up in a very older society where we do not curse in public.
Are you threatened by someone else's sexuality? Is that the problem here, doctor?
No, I'm threatened by your tone of voice.
I would hope that a doctor of the University of Florida would be a little more open-minded than this.
Sir, I have done quite many things in my life. I have, as the kids say, dropped acid in the 60s with a great number of bands, one of which was
nothing gay
Stevie
happened
Nicks. No, let me say this. I'm an open-minded man, but when the government impinges upon our freedoms and forces certain restaurants to push away other clientele, it disturbs me.
Well, I can't help but agree with you there, doctor. I mean, it's going to be kind of hard to spank you on this one when it's such an agreeable issue.
I don't need your homosexual spanking anyway.
Whoa. This is a purely platonic spanking for one, sir.
Well, I suppose it would be a professional spanking.
Indeed. I went to school for several years to learn how to be a journalist just so I could spank. What's the real issue here, Doctor? Everyone knows that everyone deserves a damn cake. Whether they're gay or not, they should get a cake.
Everybody should get a cake. In fact, I should get at least a cake, if not 3 or 4, for just putting up with this goddamn show.
You don't have to call me doctor. I invite you here. You could say, no, I have important doctor things to go do, like go doctoring. But no, you come here and you decide to tell me that gay people deserve a cake, which they do.
Of course.
But I mean, of course they do. Everyone deserves a damn cake.
I'm not disagreeing with you, sir.
Is that all you have today, Doctor?
That times are such that you can't even afford a cake.
I get 5 minutes on this radio station with no light bulbs, and you come in here to tell me that people need a cake. It's like, yeah, of course they need a cake. Everyone needs a cake every here and there. It's not our fault. The Supreme Court's full of idiots.
Perhaps, sir, you should pay for the lighting out of pocket because it seems you have not researched.
It's not the bulbs that are the problem. There's no electricity going to the bulbs, Doctor.
Conversation.
What?
Play that whip noise. Whooped you.
No. It's my whip noise. Don't do it, Tom. Don't do it. He did it. He whooped me.
Touche,
sir. Whooped on my own whooping show.
Yes, indeed. You would be the new whooping boy.
No.
Literary reference, not a. Well, you understand.
A what?
A literary reference. As a professor, I read many books.
What do you?
The Whipping Boy is just simply a classic. We were all forced to
classic.
Read.
It's a great literary classic. Who wrote it? Who wrote that book, Doctor?
Mark Twain.
Mark Twain. The Whippin' Boys by Mark Twain. Is it whippin' or whoopin'?
Whoopin'.
How do you spell that?
So W H.
Are you sure it's not HW?
PING. I believe.
Well, you heard it here. Go check out The Whoopin' Boys by Mark Twain, recommended by Dr. Jones Fadala, the storied professor over at the University of Florida. He knows all about the books. He's read all the Mark Twain. You might not have heard of this one, but he says it's great. It's a story,
criticism.
It is a storied classic.
Perhaps don't play the whooping noise so much. You're going to whip your show to death.
No, you're getting whooped. All right, not us. It's you.
I believe one of those whoops was for you, though.
Just one. But have you heard how many there are?
A plethora.
The balance of the ratio of my whooping to your whooping is severely. Like it's tilted in one direction, Doctor, and it's not.
Of course, it's lopsided. You have your.
I'm not pushing the whooping button.
Your blasted finger.
I got an assistant here to push the whooping button. I've moved on past being the guy that makes the sound effects.
Oh, so you hire a person to push a button, but you don't have enough electricity.
You know what? You would be surprised that in this economy, this guy is a lot cheaper per hour than these light bulbs.
Actually, I would believe that.
Yeah, maybe you should do something about that, Doctor. Bring some real legislation to the table.
When I run for Senate, I will enlist your help, and I will call back on this show frequently. But until such time, I must be going. I have doctorly things to preoccupy my time.
Like cake bacon?
Perhaps.
And that was You've Been Spanked with Chris Fago and, of course, Dr. Jonas Fadala, a favorite here at the station. As I said before, that is the most popular show. We know you love to call us all sorts of slurs on Twitter whenever that one plays. We know you like it. We know you're reacting to it. We appreciate the fact that you're following us at the very least. We do block most of you,
yes,
but we read every tweet, even the ones that are threats. And we'd like it if those would stop, but we appreciate the engagement nevertheless.
But it's okay. We don't report them to the police department.
That's true.
We just like the attention.
We haven't
honestly.
Yet. Yes.
Yeah.
We need all the attention we can get so we can turn the lights back on here at KSIO.
Mm-hmm. It's awfully dark in this room today. It's usually not this dark, but we do record it the same day every day. And I don't know what the deal is, but it's just extra dark this time.
Some days there's less sun.
I think we don't have the candles burning.
Oh,
you have not lit the candles. That is the deal.
I can't afford a lighter anymore. That's also on the docket.
We had to cut back on our ritual candle burning and less summoning during the office hours. So
no goat's blood on the floor at all today.
I know, it's very clean. It looks nice.
Well, but it's the magic. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So now it's time to transition over to our brand new show. One
it's already time.
We're very, very proud of it. It is called.
Oh, I get to do the intro. This next show is gonna be Winin and Cheesin with Cheez Louiz.
Cheez Louiz.
Cheez Louiz.
And I'm Tom Wine. As Tom Wine,
are we doing it now?
We are on the air.
Well, I'm Cheez Louiz then. I thought I was just doing the introduction.
Who's with us today, Cheez?
Tom Wine.
And who else?
I forgot this guy's name, but I think he's on the
Hello?
line.
Well, he's a caller. He's a caller.
Yeah, we haven't heard his name yet. What is your name,
caller?
sir?
Caller, what's your name?
Timothy Grigio.
Oh,
Timothy Grigio. That's such a perfect name for this type of show.
Well,
yeah,
the middle
Tom
name
Wine.
is actually Pinot Grigio, but that's only due to the
Timothy
fact that my
Pinot
mother
Grigio.
drank sort of a lot when I was in the womb. So
She thought it was a request, but it was your birth certificate.
exactly, I get that joke every time.
And you're on the perfect show for those kind of jokes. You'll get a
Yeah.
lot of them on Twitter. Let us, don't doubt us on that. We've been doing a lot of research actually on the various types of wine. I don't know. What was your first name? Was Timothy?
Yes.
So Timothy, I'm not sure you're quite as caught up with us as we are, but we've been trying out. We tried out a Pinot Grigio. We tried out a Pinot Noir. We tried out a Cabernet. And
Malbec.
Oh,
Malbec. Yes, So we figured the best way to really get a sense of how to review a bottle of wine is to drink the whole bottle, right?
Yes,
I mean,
each individually.
yes.
So you had a bottle of Pinot Grigio. I had a bottle of Pinot Grigio.
Mhm.
You didn't have a bottle of Pinot Grigio over there wherever you are, but you should have had one.
I had half a bottle of Riesling this morning in my coffee.
You gotta step it up there. Those are
How big is this mug of coffee, sir?
Well, it's good to drink a lot of liquid. My doctor says, liquids are the surest way to flush chemicals out of your body.
Oh.
Surest way to flush chemicals. And
we should remember that. We should do this next time. We'll have to try that.
And what's the next bottle that we're about to try here on Winin and Cheesin? Actually, the thing that we should get into before we do that, of course, is you should, Mr. Cheez Louiz,
Mr. Cheez,
tell us about the cheese. Cheese it up for us.
Yeah.
Cheese away.
We have some fine extra sharp cheddar next to some Gouda, and the craft singles are a little farther down the line, but we're trying to save those because that's the good stuff. And then I don't know what this other one is, but it's got some swirls in it. It looks interesting. It's got, you cheese with swirls in it. It's got to be something good, right? And then that one's got some specks. We're going to find out what it is when we get to it.
Specks like glasses?
No, like it's got stuff in it. Like, have you
Speckles?
Speckles, yes. Not spectacles, Tom. Speckles.
Oh.
No, there's a syllable missing. It's interesting. It's food. You can eat this one.
Sounds delicious.
Yes,
Timothy.
Timothy, do you cheesing hard over here?
Timothy, are you cheesing hard? Are you ready for this?
What kind of cheese you got?
I've got several laid up in front of me here. First of which is the fromage blanc,
the Great American Spotted Cheese.
Yes, yeah. What a classic that is. But I don't have that one, unfortunately.
You just said you did.
Cottage cheese.
Do you eat it all?
I have a great selection here.
Did you mix it in with your coffee and wine?
Some Fontina. I'm on a restricted diet, so let's just not talk about that. But I have had plenty of Gruyere and other cheeses.
Do you have irritable cheese syndrome?
Well, it's sort of more a habit that I need to fill every day. So the cheese is just supplemental for.
What are some of the great things that have happened in your life since you developed this cheese habit?
Well, I did go to France. I was there for about a month, and I just made cheese in a cave.
In a cave?
This old man showed me how to do it.
Was he known for doing this, or did you just ask somebody to learn it with you who happened to be an old man in a cave?
No. He'd been doing it for 200 years. Not him per se, but his father and his great grand father.
What does a man like that wear when he makes his cheese?
Oh, the classic French villager peasant sort of outfit. You have like
Cheesecloth.
the hat that people wear to sell newspapers in the early 20th century. Sort of like a pilgrim shirt, and then some trousers, just very poorly, cheap shodden footwear.
If Marie Antoinette were to go to a Hy-Vee and go to the cheese section, what do you
She
think?
would be impressed.
What do you think
Oh
she'd
my
buy?
a nice pecorino, probably.
I've never had a
French-
pecorino.
What's special about a pecorino?
Oh, well, the French love it. The
Yeah.
French, they go crazy
Real.
for it. The pecorino is, it's the Cadillac of cheeses in France.
Ooh, it's got a big trunk.
Exactly. It's a great cheese. Additionally, I went to the Alps, the foothills of the Alps for a few days after my France trip, and I learned how to make Swiss cheese. That's just, they actually punch holes in the cheeses.
They have a cheese hole
doesn't
puncher?
really come like that.
Do you punch it with a fist, or is there like a smaller device you use?
No, there's a cheese hole punching machine.
Wow.
Passed down for centuries,
Yeah.
of course, but it makes the little holes in the cheese.
Who eats what remains? The holes themselves when you
Yeah.
empty out the
Where
hole
do- Where
puncher.
does the cheese go?
Because I would like some of that. I have to admit,
That's a lot of wasted cheese.
unless you eat it.
Oh,
That's true.
well, it's it's sampled. It's fed to the local villagers. It's fed to the farm animals, the children around the fire. Everyone gets a taste of the cheese of the season.
So if they feed this cheese that was taken from the Swiss cheese to the cows, and they make cheese from the milk that comes from the cows, there's bits of cheese in the cheese going into the cheese that you made cheese with.
Cheese.
It's a
Cheese.
holistic process.
Wow, that's the circle of cheese right there.
Circle of cheese. And now you heard about
It's
it.
a
Now
whole
you know.
cheese wheel.
It
So to speak.
is. That's a yeah. Wow, I missed that joke. I could have done a lot better there.
Next week, we can make that joke again.
We can.
'Cause I don't know if anyone's listening.
This guy won't be on here, so he won't know
No.
we took it from him.
Timothy doesn't care what you
Yeah.
say next week. Timothy,
No.
have you ever even listened to this show before?
Timothy's gonna be passed out drunk on the side of the road with his cheese problem. It's okay.
Timothy has to have his stomach shrunk surgically
the
next
line.
week. What, Timothy? What'd you
What?
say?
What?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm still on the line.
How's your 600-pound life, Timothy?
Bye, Timothy.
Goodbye, I guess.
Oh, I meant to hang up on you, Timothy. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Timothy.
I don't. I'm trying to find
So
the button to hang
It's
up
here
on you,
somewhere.
Timothy.
I'm not in control.
We're gonna find it, Timothy.
Is this a real radio show, or is this a?
We're heavily underfunded, Timothy. Let me-
You're the one on drugs. You tell us, Timothy.
yeah, Timothy.
Yeah, you're the one with the
I
problem.
called this number from a billboard.
Did
just
you,
'cause
Timothy? Take
I
some
was-
cheese out of your mouth.
Yeah, Jesus,
First,
Timothy, I
please.
can't hear you.
We can barely understand what you're saying.
go back to drinking nacho cheese out of a packet on the side of the road.
And you go back to your 16 bottles of Syrah before bedtime.
In fact,
Don't you make fun of my
have a
alcohol
great-
problem.
Have a
I
great
like.
day.
I do have to go throw up now that he mentions it, though. I'm really not doing so well. So I think that's about it for the show. You want to take us out?
Yes, this has been Winin and Cheesin, and I'm Cheez Louiz.
And I'm Tom Wise. Wine. Ooh. We'll be back. We'll be back next week.
That's a lot of cheese.
Oh, and stay tuned for
Where everything's cheese and the whining doesn't matter.
the whining. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't. Ooh. And that was Winin and Cheesin with Cheez Louise and Tom Wine.
That was an interesting show.
It is, yes,
Yeah.
it's very interesting. And we are actually going to go to a song, and then we will come back with
Did
the
you hear
medium
that
roast.
That cool thunder rolling
We,
there.
we did,
That was
yes.
perfectly.
We
timed.
can't afford windows
Yeah,
anymore,
no,
so
no, or light bulbs.
so we're going to actually go to a song here, and we will be right back with the medium roast.
Too young to be doing what we're doing, but we're too young to care. It just feels right with you in the blue moonlight. What else could matter? Your small impression of haven't felt that way since. But forever is not so long. Forever is not so long. I know. It would be so amazing. With your hands in mine, will withstand the test of time. Time to go now. But I'll do anything to keep my arms around you. I will stay true. I will love you until death do us part. And the leaves they start to turn, start to shed. All your favorite friend get carried away. You want to talk about something real, get carried away. I never thought that I'd find someone as cynical as I. And in the night, well, I obsess. And in the night, well, I undress you with my mind. Every time I close my eyes, you inhabit my every thought. My every breath, 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 my every breath. And can we talk about something real? The sky's reflection changes you. Reflection changes you.
And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back. And we're back. Live and more live than ever before.
More alive than we've ever been in our lives.
Is Mr. Forget still there?
He's gone.
Oh, he's gone?
He's gone.
What?
He's gone. He didn't
tell me that.
Well,
I thought he'd be here.
He has time for. He gave us a half hour
that was a
of
whole
waiting
that
time.
Was a whole half hour.
Yes, we
wow.
We are really letting the craziness take over.
Yeah, that's so. I'm not used to that. Like doing sketches for a half hour and then now we're here.
Well, we're now we're at the real show.
I barely even remember what happened in this episode of You've Been Spanked. Besides,
he actually didn't want to be Jonas Fidala this week, but I don't think I think I forgot to mention that to you.
You told me the exact opposite. You're like, he wants to be Jonas Fidala again.
I think that was the first thing I heard from him, and then I heard an updated account from him.
I feel like he tried to choose something that would make me sound like a dick because he wanted me to disagree with him, and I'm like, I'm not going to disagree with this.
Yeah, that was actually the least confrontational episode of You've Been Spanked.
Well, I didn't want to be confrontational in that one because I didn't want to be like, gay people can't have cakes, like because no one wants to have that opinion,
right? Yeah,
except like assholes.
Somebody named. But we're on KSIO. You can't curse, sir.
Hey.
A-holes. Yeah. Anime Buddha has commented on our live stream saying, "We talking Cheez, and well, if it ain't about Brie, then you're I don't know who Anime Buddha is."
I think it's Sutton.
Okay,
well, I'm very happy he's listening because I haven't talked to him in a very
long
time. I've talked to him over here and there, but it's like we haven't seen each other in forever. So
talk about the Brie for Anime Buddha. What do you think about Brie? Like Brie?
I do like Brie. It's different because it's kind of like it's a super soft cheese. You know what I mean? It tends to come in like a weird tube shape, but it's a good spreading cheese on like fancy shit. I can't. I'm sorry, I forgot. Yeah, your obnoxious beeping noise.
I'm playing a song, so I can't do them both at once because I have them the same. I just need two playlists, one for sound effects, one for music.
You need like an actual soundboard thing.
I know.
It's like it's just like a separate little application.
Well, you've made it very clear you think those are dumb because it just makes the show stupid.
I was on the Google Play Store downloading some random apps and crap, and like one of the suggested apps I got was the Alex Jones soundboard, which I think would be hilarious to have on the show.
That's funny.
But yeah.
I forgot to mention that was My Every Breath by the Real Zebos we just heard.
Oh yes, My Every Breath by the Real Zebos.
Okay, sorry, continue.
But yeah, no, Brie's good. I had this goat milk Brie that's really good, but I mean, if you don't like goat cheese, you probably won't like it because goat cheese is very different from regular cheese.
I'm a fan of pretty much all the cheeses except like Velveeta.
That's not cheese though, so I think that's okay.
What is cheese product? What do you call it?
It's like it doesn't even like say cheese on the package, so it's not even cheese. It's literally
Cheese-ish.
it is just Velveeta.
Oh, okay.
One of our GMs who went to he went to like culinary school, and he's like, I can bake anything, I can cook anything. He's like, guys, I'm making some homemade queso. I'm bringing it into work. It was Velveeta and Rotel. And I'm like, this is like the worst excuse for queso ever. Like,
That's certainly not homemade.
No, it was just like salty and like had just canned salsa like poured into it. And I'm just
I thought you were going to say it had just cancer poured into it.
This is the most cancerous cheese I've ever eaten. Like,
yeah, usually homemade would go the opposite of like overly
just melting a block of waxy dairy product is not making homemade.
Barely even dairy product, whatever it is. Yeah. So cheeses, we got some cheese talk. I like brie as well.
Brie's good, yeah.
I can go for all the bries.
I do like a good sharp cheese, so I lean towards like cheddar and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got this ghost pepper like sharp cheddar one, so it's pretty damn good.
That does sound good. It's got a bite to it. I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, and like since ghost pepper is so stupidly spicy, like when that cheese, like that cheesy bite, kind of cancels out the spicy bite, so you just kind of have the actual flavor of the pepper in there, and it's really good. But it is very spicy.
I would try that. You think Marie Antoinette would buy that?
Maybe, I don't know.
So Anime Buddha has also said Velveeta is good when you feel like turning your mental anguish into physical pain. I don't. Okay, but my argument for that is you don't need bad food to do that.
But then it's just a constant cycle because you're in physical pain, then you're mentally anguishing over your physical pain, and then it's just constant.
I mean, I'm familiar with the concept, but you can do it with good food. You don't need to pick the worst stuff.
Velveeta's good if you don't have to eat it and other people are eating it. You know what I mean? Like if someone else is like, I want some queso, you're like, here you go, have some of this crappy crock pot queso.
Yes.
And then everyone else eats it and you're like, but yeah.
And you're just a jerk about it.
Yes. But no, they're all like, wow, thanks for the cheese. Because people just go crazy for cheese. Have you noticed that?
Yes. People, cheese is good. I mean, to be fair, it's hard to go wrong with cheese.
It is.
Okay, so our theme for the week is...
What was our theme?
Vacation destinations.
Vacation destination.
Question.
Yes.
You going to go to cabin with us?
Oh, when?
July 13th.
Maybe.
We go.
It's kind of difficult now because I might be starting a second job. So I kind of put any and all my vacation plans on hold.
Nevertheless, you are invited. So if you want to go out
cabin
to the middle of nowhere, you are certainly welcome.
That'd be fun. Middle of nowhere where?
Well, if I say, then everyone's all the weirdos are gonna. Anime Buddha's gonna show up.
That's okay. He'll bring the party.
What if I don't want a party? I'm not a big party guy. That's not what I'm going for.
Yeah.
When I go out to the middle of nowhere, it's not because I want to.
You're small party Tom, not big party Tom.
Small party. I mean, barely even.
Yeah. Not even really like a party. Just people hanging out, Tom.
Yeah, I can deal with that. So vacation destinations. You taking any other vacations this year?
I already had my 1 day of vacation or 2 days, whatever, in Colorado. So I don't know. Everything else is kind of up in the air.
And you went to Coors?
I went to Coors, the Coors factory, which is actually a much cooler Coors than you'd think.
Yeah.
I mean, it is interesting just seeing how they make beer on such a large scale because it's insane. Like it's like you see, like, you walk into Brickway, for example, they have that big copper vat that's like one of their brewing vats, right? And then you go to the Coors thing, and it's one of those, but it's like 3 stories tall and like probably like 100 feet around, and then there's 20 of them lined up in a row.
Yeah, people, and it's just everyone drinks the Coors.
It's just like, holy shit, that's so much beer. And they're telling us like each one of those makes like a couple million 6-packs or something. And you're just like, that is so much beer. Yeah, and it's all incredibly like below average. And that's like, what?
That's so much effort that goes into bad beer.
But it's so cheap, so everyone buys it, and it's just But it is interesting nonetheless. So
yeah, have you tried the Costco brand beer?
I have not.
Kirkland Light.
I'm sure it's probably just literally Coors Light, but Coors Light. Have you tried it?
No, I don't drink light beers.
No, I tend to shoot at least like for the mid-range stuff.
I'd literally rather have a water.
Yeah, I can settle for some Rolling Rock, but I usually won't buy Bud Light or anything in that range.
I want to say actually the only time I've ever bought a light beer was because we were filming The Living Draft, and I needed you to drink something, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money on it.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that. Yeah, you didn't even buy it for you, but you bought it for me.
I wasn't going to touch that stuff. I just needed something to pour into.
I drank it. I got pretty tipsy during that, and I feel like my acting improved as we went. Like, it got a little bit easier to go the whole time.
Okay, good to know.
I was like, wow, I see why all actors do a lot of drugs and alcohol.
Did you see there
makes a lot of sense now.
There's this big Johnny Depp profile that came out talking about, because he would make, I think, like 30 to 50 million a movie for a while there.
Spend it all on gin and tonics.
He earned ultimately, I think, like $650 million was what he's worth for a while. pretty much all gone. He's like $40 million in debt now.
It's like Nicolas Cage because he bought like a pyramid or whatever.
Yeah, it's that kind of stupid stuff. So you read the profile and they're trying to make him seem sympathetic, but you're just like, I don't feel that bad for anybody who spent $650 million and is now in debt. I'm sorry.
Is so much money.
Yeah, there was one quote in there where it says something along the lines of, yeah, I was reading in the papers that I spend $30,000 a month on wine, which is ridiculous. It was much more.
Which is like, wow, but also I wish I could complain about that. Did I tell you my cookie story at work?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so I'm at work, right? Baking stuff because I bake things, and like one of the managers comes over, he's like, "Hey man, do you see this delivery order?" Which is a stupid question because one, I'm not attached to the delivery in any way. And there's no reason why I'd ever. Oh,
you did tell me.
It's
a pretty good story.
Yeah. And so I'm like, no, I didn't see this cookie order. What's the cookie order? And so the guy's like, this person wants 47 chocolate chip cookies, not 48. They want 47, which is like the first red flag for one. And I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. Why do they want 47 cookies? Like, I don't know. They ordered a combo meal and 47 chocolate chip cookies.
Like you would assume it must be some kind of like
you would assume it's
deranged
a mistake.
Billionaire, or it's a mistake.
Yeah, and you'd think they would call and ask. But no, they're just like, well, we're going to bring her the 47 cookies. So I had to make like 4 dozen extra cookies because we sold the 4 dozen that were already in the store.
Were they chocolate chip?
Yeah, just plain Jane chocolate chip cookies, which I mean, it's easy. I literally pull them out of the freezer and throw them in an oven. So
how long do they bake for?
15 minutes. If that. That's like at the high end. Usually it's like 12 to 13, but sometimes the ovens are funky. So you got to add 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so yeah, they show up to this lady's house with 48 chocolate chip cookies and a salad and like a soup or whatever. And she's like, what's in these boxes? And the people are like, the cookies you ordered, the 47 chocolate chip cookies that you wanted. And she's like, I didn't order any cookies. And it's just like, what? I
thought, didn't you say she meant to order one?
Yeah, like she meant to order like a cookie.
Because you get a side.
Yeah, you get a side.
Right.
Or like if you get a drink with it, you get like a 99-cent cookie or pastry or whatever the hell you want.
And so she spent how much money?
$126 and change.
And then, she didn't notice. That wasn't a red flag for her.
No, she didn't. She clicked through the checkout process, apparently seeing the $120 whatever dollars for one delivery order of a salad and a cookie, and she didn't question it.
Yeah, she's like, oh, they raised the price on the salad.
Yeah, she's like, wow, this economy, man. And then like she gets her cookie and like almost 4 dozen cookies. And then she's just like, they offered, to obviously refund her the cookies because it was just a mistake.
Yeah.
And then she's like, nah, I'll just take it. Like, she's just like, I'm just going to casually drop $120 on one salad and almost 4 dozen cookies.
All right. Question for you.
Yes.
If you had 47 cookies.
Yes.
Obviously,
I eat probably a dozen of them.
But my thing is, you can't eat 40, even if you are, have the worst binge eating disorder in the world. I don't think you can eat 47 of them before they go bad.
No. Well, and since all of our stuff doesn't have preservatives in it, they go bad super quick. Like I've tried to like live off bread from work and like the loaves go bad in a day or two. Like it's very hard to get it past a couple days.
That's actually, it doesn't sound good, but that's probably a good selling point for you guys.
What, the loaves go bad?
Yeah. So
our loaves actually rot.
Preservative free. They actually do go bad really quickly.
And it's awful because I'm like, wow, this is so great. All this preservative free food. It's so good for me and it's all natural. And then like 2 days later, it's like covered in mold. And I'm like, damn it. Now I have to go to the store and buy some mold free bread that won't mold in a week, Yeah. But yeah, it has its ups and downs.
Well, I mean, what would you do? So you have 47 cookies.
Well,
who do you call?
I would definitely binge eat probably like 4.
Yeah. As many as you can.
I think 4 is the most I can do. They're pretty substantial cookies.
Yeah, they're like,
and then like
that big.
Yeah, they are, and they're about 450 calories each. So I mean,
it's
after
like a meal.
After 4, that's like almost a day's worth of calories, and that's where I'd be like, okay, I need to cool it, and I'd feel guilty and stop eating.
But then you still have 43 cookies.
Yes. So I'd save like another 4 for tomorrow, and I'd probably just be like, screw it, I'll eat more cookies. And then, but I don't know, man. Like if I had been drinking and I had like a glass of milk and a bunch of these cookies, I could take out a good dozen.
Okay.
But there's still 4 more of those. That's insane.
So who do you call to get rid of your cookies?
Leah would definitely help. She likes cookies.
But she also is probably not going to eat that many more than you just said you would eat.
No, I doubt she could eat as much as I could.
Right. So
yeah.
So so how many could you possibly get rid of? You could maybe get rid of about half of it.
I'd give some to you guys for sure because I'm sure you'd eat some. But I wouldn't though. I mean, they probably just go bad after a while.
That's what. Yeah. No, you got to find people to give these cookies to. Do you go to like a party and just bring a ton of cookies?
I don't know. I'd have to find a party to go to is the harder part. Like I can get 4 dozen cookies, but can I find a party? That's a rough one.
Donate
That's
them to Ben for his next bonfire that you may or may not be at.
I won't even get invited. Here's some cookies for the party you're throwing without me.
Chris donated some cookies to the cause.
Oh.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know what to do with that many cookies.
Man, their basement flooded, and I had no idea. And I went down there looking for a toolbox. We're trying to fix like Leah's like brake light or some crap. So I'm trying to find a screwdriver.
And
I go down.
Carpet's all mushy.
Yeah, well, there's no carpet. It's just like that concrete.
Oh, that's
stuff,
probably
right?
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I go down there and like the lights are off, and I'm stumbling around trying to find this, and all of a sudden I just like start splashing around. I'm like, what's going on?
Is water still getting in?
This was a while back. This was when it was like raining like 3 days.
Yeah.
Like 3 days
Okay,
in a
but
row.
it's
So I don't
okay.
know.
No.
I haven't like checked. It's not my basement, so I don't really care.
Yeah, but you were down.
I
I
was
was
just
sure.
like,
Okay.
oh god, yeah. It was just surprising when you take a step on a floor and it's just water.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're going to get that fixed, but
One would hope.
it's is it true that if you put your hand in water when you're sleeping, you pee?
I've never tried. I've always been asleep when I'm sleeping.
No, no one's mischievous enough. Leah's never
I don't know.
thought to do an experiment.
She's a sensitive sleeper. I accidentally like hit her in the face the other night. And it was
What?
kind of funny. This is hilarious.
What?
I like rolled over and I like hit her right in the forehead, and she goes, "Huh?" And I
So just like your hand just
yeah,
moved? Okay.
like I was readjusting, and like I guess she was like closer than I thought. So I hit her in the forehead on accident, and she goes, "Huh?" And I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "What?" and then fell back asleep. So I was like,
One time I accidentally dropped my phone on Frankie's face when she was asleep.
I think I've done that before too.
That was sad. It was
Yeah.
funny.
Did you freak her out? She's like, ah.
She just did this like kind of noise. So all right, we're gonna go to another song.
That's exactly what I.
And then we will be right back. This is Smooper by White Wolf T-Shirt, another local Omaha band. Stay tuned for the Chris is going to decide the plot of a movie he hasn't seen and other fun things. So,
We never got to vacation destinations.
coming up.
When my thoughts can breathe, I think I'll wash it in the body, give it in without me. I can know the boat you could drown on me, and I could be the thing that's swimming all around the sea. I know I could be a symphony. I know there will be whenever you're touching me. I see you swimming, swimming away. There's a letter in the bottom of the lake, and it's all a set out of by mistake. To pick you up from the sea of pride, why could I ever miss it? Sorry, oh, that's something I know. All in the water, where my dogs can breathe. Think about where I'm on the water. Should anybody give a damn about me? I don't know.
That was Smooper by White Wolf T-Shirt.
Was that a W or an M?
Smooper with an M.
Smooper, okay.
Yeah. I had to think about what you were talking about.
I know, yeah, but you figured it out.
I did figure it out. Yeah. So, okay. Quick reviews, since we always do reviews.
Quick reviews.
Lightning fast, because you haven't seen Westworld. There's no point in me really going in depth.
Nope,
with
but
it.
you can say what you think about it.
Yeah, season 2 was a mess.
Really? A good mess or a bad mess? A hot mess or just like a why am I watching this mess?
A mixture.
A
medium.
That's okay. I can handle a mixture mess.
It's not even like lukewarm. It's like if you microwave something and parts of it are exactly the temperature you wanted of it, and parts of it are
it's still frozen.
A little bit like parts of it are not that warm, then others are frozen.
Then
so
you throw it back, but you try to like offset it in the microwave, so you kind of get a different. Yeah,
basically that's what I would say. It's like your reheated Chinese food this year is what. Man. So season 1 is like a great Chinese
that is
dish.
not relevant because I don't have Chinese leftovers whenever I get leftovers or when I get Chinese.
Well,
so.
I'm going to use it because I like it as a metaphor. So season 1 is that fresh Kung Pao chicken that's really good and you really enjoy it. Season 2 is the reheated. Sometimes really good, sometimes not that great. Sometimes you're like, I don't know, this wasn't ready to be eaten yet.
Yeah.
There are 2 great episodes in it.
Okay. Out of how many?
Out of 10.
Ooh, that's not good.
What I would say
that's a bad ratio.
So, okay. Scale of the episodes 1, 2, 4.
What? Oh, okay.
7, 8, and 10 were all pretty good.
Okay.
Ranging from like, yeah, it's pretty good to like great.
I like how you know the numbers of which ones you.
I remember episodes. I don't know.
I don't.
I have a weird memory for that.
My problem is when I binge episodes, like it
that's why
it all blurs. You know,
I don't binge that much. That's probably why I can do it.
Okay. I watched the first 4 episodes of Barry, and I thought it was pretty good. But we're
going to disagree on that one.
That's fine. We can disagree to disagree.
Well, I think you actually hit the nail on the head when we talked about it before, which is that I'm really looking for something that's going to be really engaging. And sometimes you're just not in the mood to like do something that's requiring a lot of intellect or energy or anything.
I like how it's something that like you think would be some like overly in-depth kind of like, you know, hitman drama, but it's just kind of like a stupid hitman drama. And I'm okay with that. Like it's kind of funny.
And I have no issue actually with the show other than just it's like I don't really want to watch this.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I think Bill Hader does a good job of playing a slightly more serious role than he normally does, and just kind of like this confused. Like it's kind of funny watching someone who's acted so much not act well at all, and that's okay.
Yes, because he's trying to be an actor. Yeah, that makes sense. Succession. I haven't watched episode 4 yet, but it's like a weird, almost Arrested Development, but not funny.
So it's season 4 of Arrested Development,
but it's not anywhere near as complicated as Arrested Development has ever been. So it's some kind of like if it stops trying to be Arrested Development and if it stops having literally the most intense soundtrack of any HBO show. I swear, it's like the new season Game of Thrones. They put their soundtrack on.
That'd be kind of funny.
Where it's just like a bunch of rich people kind of like whining about things, and then it's just like the loudest orchestral music in the world.
We should put the Game of Thrones theme over the Bluths, like doing things like
that would work.
Could you imagine like Job doing his magic to the Game of Thrones intro?
Then the final countdown plays over the Game of Thrones opening soundtrack. And like Jon Snow comes back to life.
It was an illusion, Michael.
I will bring our bastard brother back to life. God, I love when they're dancing and Buster's doing the dance. And he doesn't realize that it's George Senior's funeral.
Oh yeah,
it's his birthday or something.
And the coffin thing.
Oh, that was so funny. Anyway, of the new slew of HBO shows, I don't know. Westworld, I still think it's worth watching. Certainly for the first season. This one had a good ending, but it's almost like the real story will just jump from the end of season 1 to the beginning of season 3, and the rest was kind of filler, but not.
What? Sorry, continue. Oh,
Westworld.
Westworld. Okay,
yeah.
I couldn't remember if we were doing Succession or Westworld. You jumped there.
Westworld. Okay. The story of season 2 seems like it's not actually all that relevant because all the real stuff will happen in season 3.
Okay, so it's kind of like a self-contained kind of thing.
Kind of, but you're also like, I don't know if much of this was really necessary.
Weird. Okay.
Beyond some of the last episode. So
I can handle weird though. I like a weird convoluted anything really.
This season is certainly convoluted. I'll give it that. So, and then we saw Filmworker.
We did,
which is about Leon Vitali, who was Stanley Kubrick's slave, essentially.
Pretty much.
It's like self-appointed slave.
Like not very well paid, and just kind of showed up and did everything.
Yeah,
he got yelled at a lot, but
he played Lord Bullingdon in Barry Lyndon and decided Stanley Kubrick is a genius. I want to devote my entire life to helping him and doing what he wants and like understanding him. And so he did up through Kubrick's death. Even he was working with him like ridiculous hours, basically anything that Stanley Kubrick needed done, he would try to do.
So I didn't realize. Did they say that Eyes Wide Shut came out after Kubrick died?
Yes, he
I
died.
did not know that. Okay, so that was I figured that was just like, I don't know, his last movie, not necessarily like it came out in such a weird time like that.
My understanding is he had delivered a cut that he was happy with, and then he died. He might have continued to tinker with it. We'll never know, obviously.
Interesting. It still feels like the least Kubrick of his movies, though. Like, I don't know how else to put it, but it's just not like,
it's less epic in scope. I mean, it's very much like an internal story, which he didn't do as often.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just out of the ones I've seen, though, it seems like the black sheep.
I would actually say Full Metal Jacket is the black sheep.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
I guess I could see that too, but
That one's pretty weird.
Yeah.
Filmworker was interesting if you don't know that story. And I've even seen people on Twitter say, I thought I knew a ton about Stanley Kubrick, but I knew like nothing at all about Leon Vitali.
I had no idea what I was getting into, and it was a very interesting documentary, that's for sure.
I wish, I don't know. The thing that I take away from that is just like, I understand Kubrick's a perfectionist. If he can find one guy like that, he can find two more guys like that.
Yeah.
And then split the load a little.
And if he could just treat them a little better and pay them a little better, they wouldn't like be so sad.
Yeah, Kubrick could have paid this guy better than he did, and made sure that after he died, that this guy got some degree of money to continue to just look and make sure the prints were the way that Stanley Kubrick wanted them to be, which he does.
It sounds like he did. Yeah, he did everything. Like, he was like producer on set. He did all this other crap. What is he actually credited as, like, in the credits of those movies? Do you know?
That's a great question.
Because I figured it would be something like producer, but since he wasn't really like a corporate kind of guy, like, I don't know if that's what they'd give him.
I will look up his IMDb page.
You should,
and I will see. So,
but yeah, I mean, it's it was a very interesting watch. It's kind of depressing, because you can tell this guy just poured his heart and soul into all these other movies that someone else like poured his heart and soul into as well, and he just didn't get as much credit for it. It
looks like he's credited as assistant to director.
Wow.
So
that's right. Yeah, because they asked like what it was like being assistant all the time, and he's like, I don't think I was the assistant, even though he like totally was.
And he's casting director on Full Metal Jacket and Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh yeah, see, he got that one guy in there, the drill sergeant.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like that's pretty much it. Otherwise, he's just kind of helping with the restorations and everything, like the 4K transfer Kubrick stuff now. So, all right, those are our reviews. We are at 59 minutes. So what I was gonna do was find a movie here. Let me go through.
Oh yes, bring it on. Oh, we never talked about Vacation Destination.
Okay, talk about that while I pull up a movie here.
Vacation Destinations. I would say one of the most underrated vacation destinations in the Midwest of the U.S. would probably be
Grand Island, Nebraska.
Yes, that. There's a whole 2 blocks of downtown that you can go to the 3 bars at and have 2 beers at each one. You'll be a little bit buzzed, and then you can go back to your hotel room and do nothing because there's nothing else to do there.
Thank you, Mr. Bourdain. What else?
Yeah. The other one, the real suggestion, I would recommend the Black Hills in South Dakota.
What'd you do there?
I don't know, nothing, but it's a beautiful place. It's like small mountains. It's very forested, kind of like very vertical area with a bunch of just like hotels and cabins and places to hang out and stuff to go look around, like hiking and all that crap. No, it's great. There's a bunch of route. We're kind of off on the side. Route Mushmore, but no, you got like the Badlands, which is like the Grand Canyon light, like Diet Grand Canyon. And I'd recommend the Black Hills, South Dakota. The whole area is definitely a good, if you don't want to shell out a lot of money. And I totally recommend going in the off season because then it's empty.
What's the off season there?
Like fall, I would say.
Okay,
because you get the summer crowd leaves, and granted, most of like the tourist trappy stuff will close down. But then, there's like cave tours. So you go hiking through like caves.
You could find a guy in a cave who's going to make you cheese.
No, like there are like caves where you got to take an elevator down like 400 feet and then you walk around in the cave.
Yikes.
Right?
That sounds actually kind of scary.
It's neat as hell.
Did you ever see that movie, The Descent?
Yes.
I thought that movie was terrifying.
Yeah.
Pre-monsters.
Even when the monsters are just kind of like there, but not like interacting with them, I thought it was creepier. You know what I mean?
Well, there's that one scene where they're going through that narrow tunnel.
One?
And I will never forget that. That was so uncomfortable to watch.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's like a thing they do.
Yeah.
On some of these tours, like there was so one of them we went on, there was the thing where there's like basically this little, like probably like 2 foot, like tall by 4, like, maybe like 3 feet, a yard across, like box. Like if you can crawl through this box, you can go on the exploration tour where you actually like crawl like through these
No, thank you, sir.
these little caves, and you got to like squeeze in, and then they're like, yeah, through this one we have like the employee lounge, and it's like where they have like their little employee parties, and it's just like you got to squeeze through this tiny little thing to get in. It's like
That's a no for me. That's a hard pass.
Right.
I never want to have to go through any narrow thing.
I think one of the coolest things they did though is we were in one of the caves and they turn all the lights off.
Okay.
Well,
In
no,
a good way?
but you
Okay.
think about it, like you're underground.
Yeah,
You turn the lights off. There's absolutely no light.
yeah, that's why it
is-
bothers me.
It is the darkest dark you'll ever see, and it's crazy.
You like that?
It
You
was
like the darkest
it was
dark?
just weird because I mean, even like at night outside, there's the moon and all these other lights and crap. In your house, there's always some kind of light. Like it was just so dark.
I was like in movies when they go into a cave and there's all this light.
I know, right?
There's like
Yeah.
4 light
Or it's
sources.
like night and everything's just blue.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
At least if they're outside, we can pretend, because when you are outside, you see better than a camera does. So
Yeah.
there's artificial light. I'll grant them that.
I
When
don't know.
they go in caves, it's always really well
Oh,
lit.
it's so well lit. And then they like light a torch and it's like
But yeah, the Descent is I rank that actually with Hereditary. In that
Okay.
there are those.
It's a good one.
They each have a moment in it that really, really bothered me, and then by the time it became a real horror movie, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
The ending's a cop out,
And,
especially in The Descent, Yeah.
okay, well, we're at that time again.
Describe. No, wait. I describe.
We can each describe one too.
I'm not good at having you describe a thing. 'Cause
You ever
then you
seen-
just get it right and then it's boring.
Did you ever see Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I saw like the first 3/4 of it, but I know how it ends.
What's with you?
I-
You just fall asleep during these movies?
Sometimes,
Is that why you
yeah.
haven't seen the end of a lot of these movies?
Sometimes I
Okay.
start a movie, I fall asleep, and I wake up, I'm like, oh crap.
Okay, that's a fair excuse because you have a job. You're
Yeah,
up. You're tired.
I gotta get up in the morning.
You're always going to stay up till the end.
Yeah.
I'm going to find one. I'm going to find a really good movie that you have.
Oh man.
Uh,
The one Stanley Kubrick movie they did not mention at all during that the documentary. What was it? Go. I know what it was.
there are multiple.
Oh really? What else didn't they mention?
I don't believe they mentioned Lolita.
No. Oh, that was him too.
Yep. Fear and Desire. Fear and Desire. I don't think they
Didn't
mentioned
know about that one. I was gonna say
This one, a really
Spartacus.
old
They
one.
didn't mention at all.
True. No
Yeah.
Spartacus. Let's see.
I feel like there's another one, but I can't. Because I didn't know about the other two, but I knew Spartacus, and I feel like there's something else they didn't mention at all. I don't know why. I'm not sure if there actually was.
I mean, they didn't talk about Paths of Glory, but they showed a couple clips
What was
from
that?
it. That's an old war one that he made.
Huh.
Um,
Were those the ones that like weren't
black and white stuff?
Yeah. Okay.
They also didn't talk much about Strangelove, but there were some clips in it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that was before Vitali, so it was kind of like, or was it? Wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, they really didn't talk about 2001 even that much, but obviously that got some mentions.
But 2001's so good. They should just do a documentary on that.
I'm sure there are tons of documentaries on that.
Probably. Yeah. Anyway, so what am I describing? It's not.
I'm going through the
Sunshine?
IMDb top 250.
That's what I did, and I was like, Tom's seen all these.
I'm trying to find one that has weird elements like terms of endearment so that I can kind of guide you.
Yeah. Along the weirdness, and I can fill in strange details, and then
You know what's irritating?
What?
Infinity War is like number 25.
Is it really?
Yeah.
See, you got to go see it, Tom. IMDb says it's the 25th
Yeah.
best movie ever made,
Right.
ever, in infinity and beyond.
God, even Grand Budapest Hotel is on here.
Oh, see, I just
Disgusting.
I just don't trust IMDb anymore unless I'm looking for like casting information. I don't bother with their reviews and whatnot.
Have you ever seen The Truman Show?
Yeah, of course I've seen the Truman Show. Come on,
I don't know what you've seen when
Come
you haven't
on.
seen.
I see. The problem is, I just assume you've seen anything that I'd like. Be like, have you seen this? So it makes it very difficult.
We could do a whole show where we each just go down.
Have you seen this?
Top two. Yeah.
Have you seen this movie?
Yep.
Yep. No, I watched the first 3/4 of it, but then I fell asleep.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
No.
In some movies, it depends on the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I could pick something like Annie Hall, but
I've seen like the first 3/4 of that one too. First
yeah.
half, I'd say that.
But I
one.
can't make you guess the end of Annie
No.
Hall and act like that's going to be interesting.
Woody and Allie, Annie Blake.
Woody and Allie.
Allie.
Woody Allie.
Allie Hall.
Allie Hall. We could pick a movie that neither of us has seen.
Oh, but would that? Yeah. How would you guide me along? We could take
Uh,
bets and then we could get drunk and watch the movie at some point and see who was right.
We don't have to get drunk to watch it necessarily.
It'd be more fun that way.
Maybe. Depends on the movie. We can watch the first 2/3 of it. and
First
then-
2/3 of Infinity War.
And then never
2/3 War.
No. No, I will not. Yeah, I don't know. This is they're not great movies on here. Is the problem?
No, they're not.
You ever see Lawrence of Arabia?
No.
All right, tell me what it's about.
This guy Larry Arabia.
Larry
de Arabia. No, so it's Lawrence of Arabia. I know he's based on a real person.
Do you know who?
Lawrence.
Do you know anything? Yeah, yes, that is true. You know which Lawrence at all? Can you narrow down the Lawrences?
No, I
of the
cannot.
world?
I feel like I got this in a history class at one point, and they're like, by the way, there's this movie called Lawrence of Arabia. I mean, this guy I just told you about.
Yes, you might have learned about him in history.
So I feel like I got that brought up at one point. I don't remember what era necessarily, maybe like slightly pre-World War One-ish, like late 1900s, early what I mean? Early 1900s, late 1800s kind of area.
It is World War One.
Okay, so yeah, okay, because he looks very World War One. I don't know how else to put it. But like the picture I have in my head of Lawrence of Arabia is very like World War One in Africa kind of guy. Even though I mean it's
Not quite Africa necessarily.
The Northern Africa desert area.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So there we go.
Okay. So far so good.
But yeah, he's going around. He's wandering the desert with I don't know, some probably other important people.
What's he doing though? I mean, what's he up to?
What does Lawrence of Arabia do? Well, that's where it gets confusing in my head because he's a white guy. Because I don't feel like there's any actual Arabs named Lawrence, or Africans or any of that. Yeah.
However, you might be able to connect the dots. If it's World War One, what might bring him?
Probably World War One because
Yes.
the British had a big had a big presence in Northern Africa during the time.
So far,
So I don't know if he was like pro Britain though, and he was trying to rally up some Arabs to help him fight
Britain.
fight Germany.
Oh,
yeah, no, I said pro Britain.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you said I don't know if he's pro Britain. So
I don't know.
I thought
Yeah,
the jump there was that
no.
he's going to take down Britain with the Arabs.
Lawrence is a Nazi, and no wait, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong war. But yeah,
not yet.
This guy was just a very patriotic German. But no, Lawrence isn't a very German name either, so I'm assuming he's British. Yeah, so he's British. He's going around in Northern Africa, Arab lands and whatnot, and he's Arabian. But yeah,
Pirates of the Caribbean.
I don't know what his motivation would be. I know it's like a 4-hour movie or some crap shot in crazy widescreen.
Yeah, it looks good.
Does it?
Yeah.
Kind
Kind of slow, but
I'd imagine it seems like that kind of.
I don't know if any movie needs.
I keep
to be 4
forgetting
hours
if we're
long.
doing movie or reality. So I'm like, wait, what did Lawrence of Arabia do?
I'm just talking movie here. So
Okay.
come up with a plot that we
so
can.
So in the
you know,
movie,
yeah.
Lawrence of Arabia is in Arabia.
Yep. No, sure.
What? The general area of Arabia.
Yeah.
He's going around trying to rally some support for the British because the Germans
getting
are down
petitions
there.
signed,
Having the locals sign petitions saying, "Hey, we don't like these Germans. They're we don't want to
The
get
petition to end World War One.
petition to end World War One by general consensus. The referendum to end World War
He's
One.
going around the world.
Yeah.
Okay, so petition master T.E. Lawrence.
Is that his first name? T.E.
Their initials.
I know. I get it.
T.E. Lawrence
T.E.
loves petitions. He goes
Yes.
around the world. He's going to every country
in Arabia.
All of the Arabia countries
Yes.
To get them to sign the petition to end World War One.
Yes.
Then what happens? That's not 4 hours. You don't have 4 hours.
No. Well, the problem is I feel like World War One is just constantly expanding, so it ends up in Arabia. So I feel like the war catches up to him as he's down in World War One. Am I getting closer? Kind
He's
of in a
signing
way?
his petitions. He
It is like,
behind him. There's
crap,
like a
it's-
bunch of tanks.
Yeah,
it's like
German-
Mad Max.
German tanks are just kind of like behind him.
Oh no!
He's on some dude's like porch and he turns around and there's just like a tank can on there. But yeah,
Gosh, gee, I better hurry up with my petition.
yes. So yeah, I don't know where this could possibly go over the course of 4 hours with World War One going on. And I don't really know what he did. Give me another hint. What have we got? Have you seen Lawrence of Arabia?
Yeah, a lot does happen, but it is slow.
Yeah. A lot of not important things happen.
I mean, if you're just interested in the life of him, I guess none of it's all that important.
Oh.
He did lead some Arabic people.
Oh, so did he become like an actual military guy?
He was an English officer.
Oh man.
Oh,
Okay, so he's an officer. So he's actually like in the military, not even necessarily just like, hey.
correct, but it does get more complicated from
Not
there. But I'm not going to tell you because
crap.
then then you'll just know the plot of the movie.
So he's mustering up these Arab armies and he's trying to what?
Arab musterer. T.E. Lawrence.
T.E. Lawrence, musterer of Arabs. But yeah, he's trying to gather military support. So I feel like maybe it's like some weird Game of Thrones in Arabia kind of thing where he's like fighting all this
dragon,
fighting all this political intrigue. Yeah, a dragon in the form of
like
some guy with a flamethrower.
Germany, here's a zombie.
Yeah,
see what we're up against.
See, and then they're like, "Well, crap, that's a zombie."
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah. And then season 6 starts in like, or 8 starts in like 3 years, so you gotta wait. And then yeah, I don't know about this one. This is a tough one. And it's like it's based in history enough that I feel like I don't want to like be like, and then the Nazis show up. But
well, just give me a brief overview of what you think happens at the end, and then we'll end the show.
At the end, I'm guessing he dies. Honestly,
how does he die?
Violently.
Like just because he's in a war.
Yeah,
so,
I'd assume in a war he gets blown up in some way, shape, or form. And there's probably like a no, kind of like Lawrence,
like,
not Larry.
Yeah, I mean, there's usually not a lot of peaceful deaths in a war movie.
No, there are not. Especially when you're an important person.
Like he was young, died quietly in his sleep.
No,
before the final
in
battle.
the tent, like outside, like as they all lined up, and they're like, "This is for Larry," and then they ride off into the battle against the Germans.
Mustering days are over.
Yeah,
friends.
I have mustered you. Now you must muster yourself.
Michael Fassbender modeled his performance in the Prometheus and Alien stuff after Peter O'Toole in Lawrence of Arabia.
I can like see it, but I don't know why he felt that was necessary.
I believe even that quote, "Big things have small beginnings," comes from Lawrence of Arabia.
Really? Okay.
And he just, because early on in Prometheus.
So he musters a lot of Arabs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big things have small beginnings.
Dang. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
So he dies.
He dies. Yeah, I know he dies. Doesn't he die?
So let's run through it really quick.
Okay.
So T.E. Lawrence is a Arab musterer.
Yes.
Who goes down and signs
business card says
some petitions or something.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, this war is coming.
These Germans are being total dicks up here. You guys should
we gotta do something about this.
Yeah.
And so then he goes out, musters them all, you get the whole army, all the Arabs.
And then it's like,
and then he how's he die?
On a horse or maybe a camel.
He dies on a camel. How does he die on the camel?
With
falls off,
a sword out, charging the Germans, and he just gets hit square in the chest with a tank shot thing.
I thought with the tank, like jousting.
Yeah, that's the last shot of the movie. Is him on a camel charging a tank, and the tank just like, and then it cuts at the last second. Like before they make contact, it just goes to black.
But you know what happens.
Yeah,
you know
he doesn't win.
Oh.
And then there's a post-credit sequence where someone it's just like Lawrence like laying in the sand, and like all the sand's like blowing around him, and he opens his eyes and it fades to black again.
he's buried in his hand, reaches out and grabs the sword.
Him on the entire camel like rise up out of the sand.
All right, that's Lawrence of Arabia. Check it out, everyone.
We
will be back.
It's a great movie.
We'll be back next week.
All right.
Watch that movie.
Bye, everybody.